Hello and welcome to Opening Bars. Mad World is a song originally conceived by Roland Orzabal and has been covered and reimagined by a number of artists over the years, and most notably, as with this version, by Michael Andrews and Gary Jules. I personally really like the translucent harmonic resonance of it. It's just so exposed and vulnerable. And as simple as it looks, that's one of the things that makes it so beautiful and yet so difficult to play well. I also like to keep it up-tempo just a little bit so that it doesn't become just another dark and brooding remake of an 80s tune. If you look at YouTube view counts for this Jules Andrews version, perhaps in part because of its inclusion in the Donnie Darko movie, it far outviews the original Tears for Fears original. Let's look at the harmony first. Here we're using the standard treble and bass clefs with 4 notated flats and a 4/4 time signature. Well, I can hear some of you saying already, wait a minute, that's wrong. Online sheet music is notated in 3 flats only. And you'd be right about one thing. Every piece of sheet music online that I could find, except for the good folks at everyonepiano.com, shows 3 flats. That would put this piece, traditionally speaking, into E flat major or C minor. But look at the first 4 opening bars. There's no E flat or C minor present, only F minor and B flat major. If we take a look at the main verse then, which I've reduced here for you, we have an F minor followed by 3 major sonorities. There's no C minor, but there is an E flat major, but it's an interior chord and it seems to be serving as a preparatory step to the B flat major. The initiating harmony, and indeed the tonal center, seems to be F minor. So, if that's the case, we need to account for the D natural. If we add up all of the notes present in the left hand and the right hand, we get F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D, E flat, and F. And if we reconstruct all of the chords, we get the very distinctive minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, major, which is the Dorian mode. If we test our hypothesis against the rest of the piece, you'll find that it holds true. We can hear it particularly well in the vocal line on the lyrics, "And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad." Where we hear the very prominent and exposed D natural on funny and find it, the highest pitch vocalized by the singer. So I'm going to use 4 flats that traditionally point to F minor and notate the D naturals to remind me that we are in the Dorian mode. I would love to see a day where I can show the modes more clearly in the key signature. Here I'd write 3 flats and insert a natural sign for where the D flat would normally be in this notation. Now, that would be cool. Anyway, I've reduced the opening measures to their essential elements. The chords in the left hand are self-explanatory, as they are in root position on the minor 1 and the major 4. The right hand shows the notes appearing on the main beats, as well as the ones on the slight anticipation before beat 1, heading into measures 2 and 4. Let's look at a more complete transcription then. Here we have half notes, quarter notes, and eighth notes, which mostly appear beamed together, except for the pickup to measure 3. So playing this couldn't be easier. Let's do that now to a click track, as straight and evenly weighted as possible. We have that one little syncopation before measure 3. Be sure to not over-anticipate this. It doesn't need the emphasis by arriving too early. Make the listener wait for it. Notice that we're using both the tie and the slur markings. Sometimes they look confusingly similar, especially if they attach only 2 notes, like shown here. Of course, ties always attach the same note, lengthening its duration, where slurs attach 1 or more different notes, indicating that they are intended to be performed as a group. You will likely not see the left hand notated this way in online sheet music. Typically, the root notes of the broken chord will be quarter notes, but I think we're best to adhere closer to our performance standard, even though it may seem like it clutters up the score with those extra rests, because we definitely want to physically sustain the root note and not have to rely on sloppy and heavy pedaling to do it for us. Let me explain more fully what I mean. What I want to achieve in my performance is to keep the fundamental harmony clear, define my musical sentence and articulations, and provide some emphasis to the interior melodic line. That's a lot to ask for, but if we're careful and thoughtful, we can do it. First of all, I want to play my left hand so my 5th finger will hold down beats 1 and 3 after striking the note, and it should have more velocity or volume than the 3rd and 5th interval that comes after it, like this. Perhaps I'm overemphasizing here, but I think you get the point. In addition, the F minor bars, 1 and 3, should carry ever slightly more weight than the secondary B flat measures. This is very subtle, but very important, in my opinion. Now, doing this in conjunction with the right hand is tricky. Part of the problem is that the melody is comprised of chord and non-chord tones that are most often conjoined by major and minor seconds, which sounds very messy when pedaled together. So we need to separate them if we can. You can see here that I'm using a lot of discrete pedaling, which I've tried to make more clear by including violin bowing notations. This one here is the down bow, and this is the up bow. And I'm using these to highlight how the down and up of the pedaling interacts with the melody. Let's see how it sounds now with the addition of the damper pedal. One thing I'm also doing, in part to give me more time to work the pedaling and to provide some aural weight to the main descending line, is to execute a very, very slight delay in playing the 2nd 8th note on the offbeats and giving them slightly less volume. Again, this is ever so infinitesimally small, but something that a listener's brain will definitely process, even though it will almost always be at a subconscious level. That's where the music is. I hope you've enjoyed your lesson today. Remember, don't just play notes. Make music. Until next time, thanks for listening.